present here, respected principal, vice principals, and HOD, participants, and my dear students. On behalf of the PG and Research Department of Zoology, I now welcome you all for this international webinar on research methodology. We have our resource person, Dr. J. Madhavan Sir, Dean of Research, Loyola College, Chennai. Before we commence this program, let me invite Abdullah from 2nd MSc Zoology to recite few verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نون والقلم وما يسطرون ما أنت بنعمة ربك بمجنون وإنك لأجرا غير ممنون وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم فستبصر ويبصرون بأيكم المفتون إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين فلا تطع المكذبين ودوا لو تدهن فيدهنون صدق الله العظيم السلام عليكم.
Thank you, Abdullah. Now I request our dynamic head of the department, Dr. M. Asrar Sharif Sir, to deliver the welcome address.
A very good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the Department of Zoology, the new college, I welcome one and all to this international webinar. The PG and Research Department of Zoology has a very rich tradition of able administration, research, as well as various other activities where we have tried to make our students get holistic education or wholesome education, which would help them to become useful citizens of this great country. I have the pleasure of welcoming our Vice Principal Administration, Dr. Kamal Nasir, sir. Thank you, sir, for your presence. It is very apt that our Vice Principal Administration is here because he has been a very strong votary, even much before NAC mentioned about interdisciplinary research and things like that. So he was keen that departments could also work together, and he himself has set an example by going in for mathematical modeling and statistical analysis for a mathematical problem integrated with biological data. So thank you, sir, for your presence. I am really honored to welcome our resource person, Dr. J. Madhavan, Dean of Research, Loyola College. It is very gratifying whenever I just listen to him or hear about Loyola College. The reason is it is an institution which has set benchmarks of excellence, not only nationally, but globally, whether it is NIRF, whether it is NAC, or whether it is any other, what you call a benchmark for excellence and quality education. Loyola College has been in the forefront. Okay. And our very esteemed and experienced research person who will be introduced later formally by our organizing secretary has set very high standards of excellence in research. So I also have the fortune of listening to some of his talk through webinars. So this pandemic was very useful for many of us to participate. And hats off to you, sir, and thank you for your presence. So
thank you.
It's really a pleasure for me to listen to you deal with, organize various aspects of research methodology for your institution and for various stakeholders. And Sir himself has set the tone with talks on journal metrics, navigating peer review, code of ethics and research, consultancy, and so many other fields. So we are really fortunate to have such a person here to deliver the resource talk on research methodology. Thank you, sir, once again for your presence. I would also like to welcome my colleagues and various participants, both abroad as well as here. And most of our international participants are here thanks to the assiduous effort of two organizing secretaries, my colleagues, Dr. Mohammad Saqib Naveed and Dr. Mehrajuddin War. And they have really worked hard to make this resource talk as well as this program something that is going to be very useful for various stakeholders, students, research scholars, faculty, and various other invitees. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our energetic Vice Principal Administration, Dr. Kamal Nasir, sir, to deliver his presidential address.
Thank you, sirs. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Respected principal of this great institution, Dr. S. Bashir Ahmed. Respected Vice Principal Academic Professor S.A. Sheikh Mohammed. Respected Convener and Head of the Department of PG and Research Department of Zoology, Dr. M. Asrar Sharif. Respected resource person of today's international webinar on research methodology, Dr. J. Madhavan, Associate Professor of Physics and Dean of Research, Loyola College. Respected co-convener, Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim Naveed and Dr. Abdul Sabur, the dynamic organizing secretaries, Dr. Muhammad Saqib Naveed and Dr. Mehrajuddin War, respected international participants and respected the members of the Department of Zoology, my dear participants, very pleasant evening and peace be upon all. Indeed, it is a great pleasure for me to preside this international webinar. Friends, the objective and learning outcome for this international webinar on research methodology is well defined by the organizers. Research is a structured inquiry that utilizes acceptable scientific methodology, that is, the specific procedures of techniques used to identify, select, process, and analyze information about a topic to solve problems and create new knowledge that is generally applicable. Research is not a solidarity activity, but an act of community. As a member of research community, we are building on the knowledge that others have acquired before us and providing roadmap for those who will come after us. Research is an ongoing collaborative process with no finish line in sight. Friends, today you are going to learn more about various research concepts and methodology by choosing the right statistical approach and the techniques, and to develop an art of using different research methods and techniques in pursuing research. Friends, to make sure the PG and the research department of zoology have invited an expert in the field, Dr. J. Madhavan, Associate Professor and Dean Research, Loyola College. He is the apt person for today's webinar. On behalf of the management, principal, staff, we thank the resource person accepted our invitation in a short notice. I greatly appreciated the Department of PG Department of PG and Research Department of Zoology has taken such a wonderful initiative. With these words, I once again convey my best wishes to all and the department and all the participants attend the great webinar. May the Almighty reward you with goodness. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request one of our organizing secretaries for today's webinar, Dr. Saqib Naveed sir, to introduce our chief guest.
Good afternoon, one and all. I have great pleasure in introducing our resource person, Dr. J. Madhavan sir, Associate Professor and Dean of Research. He, sir has completed his UG, PG, MPhil degree from Bharat Dasan University and PhD from Madras University. He is a full teacher with more than 3 decades of teaching experience and more than 20 years of research experience. He is a renowned PhD guide with 31 PhD students having completed under his able guidance, and 4 are currently doing their PhD under him, which makes an impressive figure of 35 under his guidance. He has more than 150 peer-reviewed publications to his credit and has authored 4 books. He is a guest editor of Material Science Proceedings Elsevier. Sir has mobilized more than 1 crore 60 lakh rupees from various funding agencies like DST, UGC, and Times of India. He is a recipient of a Father Yedanapalli Research Award for the year 2006 and 2008 by Loyola College for his significant research contributions. Sir is a recognized reviewer for more than 20 internationally reputed journals and also member of various scientific associations like Association of Crystal Growth, Indian Laser Association. I feel we are fortunate to have you, sir, on this desk. Please welcome Dr. J. Madhavan, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, respected principal of the esteemed institution, respected Dr. Kamal, the vice principal. I thank him for those nice words. And Honorable HOD, Asra Sharif, Dr. Asra Sharif. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here. Thank you very much. I thank the HOD for calling me for this webinar. And the organizing secretaries and all the participants, good afternoon to you all. Right, before I share my presentation, right, I would like to share the sentiments of vice principal. Right, what he said is absolutely correct. Research is not a solidarity activity. I cannot sit to myself and do research. It is a collaborative activity. Right. Another thing you rightly mentioned, building upon others' knowledge. Right. What is this others' knowledge? This others' knowledge is what we call it as literature survey. Literature survey plays a major role in any research. You have to read vastly. You have to read vastly. Then only that is what is called as literature survey. You had correctly said we need to build upon others' knowledge, right? So research means it is not something out of box, right? It is not something jumping from anywhere, right? It is something adding to the existing knowledge. That is what is all research is all about. And today I will share two important things with you. One is how to write, whether it is a project or a journal, right? I will share my experience, right? I have published as an introduction. Thanks for that introduction. And as an introduction, I have published more than 150 journals, and I have also been an editor. So I know I will share my experiences with you, right? It's just a sharing, right? I will share with you the art of writing this journal, how the title should be, how the abstract should be. Those things I will try to share, right? Okay, fine. Now let me share. And here I will make the words project and research paper synonymously, right? So okay. As I said, even given it as art of writing projects, right? It is rather this project or research paper. I'll just tell you the structure, everything. Right. Now, what one expects from your research paper, right? It all starts with say, for example, I'm talking about the evaluation part, right? When you submit a research journal, right? What one expects from your journal, right? It all starts with the reading of the title, the abstract, then the introduction, then they go for the figures, the conclusion, and the reference list. Right? It is going to be a casual study in the first way, right? As I said, I'm talking in the perspective of one is going to evaluate your project or one is going to evaluate your research journal, right? And they decide whether to publish or not. So in their perspective, I'm talking, right? It all starts with the reading the title, the abstract, then slowly they move to the introduction, then the figures, the conclusion, and the reference list. This is, you must make the first impression, right? Well, having the first look, say it is all new and exciting. They must not have a they must not have an opinion that this thing has been seen earlier. Let us avoid that opinion. If you can avoid it, right? You are halfway through. So you must make an impression. Now let us go into the next details, right? Title, how the title must be, how the abstract must be, how the introduction must be. Before telling this, I was talking about the review. I was talking about evaluation, right? What is their perspective? I will describe you the different types of reviews available, right? Mostly 3 common types of reviews are available, right? When you say, first type is single blinded review, second one is double blinded review, and third one is open review. This is the common practice for any journal or for any project. These 3 are the common practice, right? Let me come to the first one, right? Single blinded review. What do you mean by single blinded review, right? I am getting someone from new college is writing a journal and submitting it to a journal, say for example, Journal of Crystal Growth or Materials Letters, something like that. They are submitting it, right? If they submit it, I am going to review that paper. Now I know who the author is, what is the affiliation, right, and where it is from. All those details I will be knowing, but the author in turn will not be knowing about the reviewer. Right? This is what is called as single blinded review. Next is double blinded review, right? Single blinded has got its own advantage, disadvantage, as well as double blinded review is it is I will not be knowing the origin of the authors, neither the authors will not be knowing the origin of the reviewer, right? This is double blinded review. And then open review, both will be knowing, you will be knowing this is Madhavan who is reviewing from Laila College is reviewing your paper, and you will be knowing this is Mohammed from New College is writing the paper, right? So these things both if both know their affiliation, their names, we call it as open review. So we have three different types of review we have, right? One is single blinded, double blinded, and then open review, right? I have an objective in telling you all these things. When you know how your paper gets evaluated, when you understand how your project get evaluated, right? Accordingly, you can write your papers. That is why I just wanted to tell you about all these things. Now coming to each and everything, right? First one is the title. Before title, let me tell you something about authors. Who can be the authors, right? Can everyone be an author? No. Can everyone be an author? No. Right? I do my research, I publish, I became an author, right? I became an author. People who help me can become the co-authors, right? So nowadays, journals clearly ask, what are the contributions made by those different authors, right? So you have the first author, you have the corresponding author. excuse, just 1 minute. You have the first author, you have the corresponding author, and then you others are co-authors, right? And journals doesn't identify as first author, second author, and all. They know who is corresponding. He is called as corresponding author, and others are co-authors, right? So corresponding author is the main author, right? Who writes and corresponded, right? That is the corresponding author, and then others are co-authors. They should have made significant contribution, right? There is an ethics in including authors, right? Not everyone can be an author, right? My friend who financed my research cannot be an author, right? If I am a boy, my girlfriend cannot be an author. So not everyone could be an author, right? If I am a girl, my boyfriend cannot be an author. So not everyone could be authors, right? So authors must have made significant contribution. So there is clear ethics in writing for authors, right? So author is one who makes significant contribution to the research work. Now, hopefully, I have made it clear. Now, coming to the title, right? Title must clarity and briefness are the landmarks of any title. So, there must be a clarity in the title. Also, it must be brief, right? Now, I have given something. Is the title descriptive, right? Does it draw the interest of the reader? Does it focus on the main and most novel findings, right? So, I must give a title. By looking at the title, I must know what the work is. That is what is called as is the title descriptive. Does it draw the interest of the reader, right? So title must be in such a way, right? After reading the title, they must move forward. After reading the title, they must not close your paper. So does it draw the interest of the reader? Does it focus on the main and most novel findings? If you find anything new, right? You just mention it in the title. And does it contain any unnecessary hype? And this is again a thumb rule for any good title. Do not add any unnecessary hype, right? Don't say it's a very novel work, first time in the world, right? So it gives lot of expectations, and when they read your papers, they should not get disappointed. So it must not contain any unnecessary hype, right? And there is a research in the length of the title. What must be the length of the title, right? It must not be too short, but it also must not be too long, right? So shorter titles are better. That is what the outcome of the research says. Right? Now abstract. So what is an abstract? Abstract provides a concise overview of the study. A strong abstract will effectively summarize the project and aim, and it has to answer certain questions. Why did the authors carry out the study? What is the reason? What actually did the authors do? How did the authors achieve this? The methodology. What is the outcome? That is, what did the authors find it out? And what does it all mean? So these are the questions which you need to answer in an abstract, right? So if you have this, your abstract is very good, right? So first thing is, why did the authors carry out the study? What did the authors do? How did the authors achieve this? And what are my findings? And finally, what does it all mean? Does it give any meaning at all, right? So if you could answer all these things, then your abstract becomes good. Now, coming to so title is over, mentioning of the author is over. Now, next comes the abstract is over. Next comes the introduction. An introduction should be well referenced. What do you mean by reference, right? As in the introduction I said, and also the vice principal also said about it, building upon others' knowledge, right? That literature survey part. I do work in some area, right? I do work in some area. Say, for example, I am doing some work in dye-sensitized solar cells. Do I have a knowledge about what is a dye-sensitized solar cells? Have I read papers related to this dye-sensitized solar cells, right? So that is what is called as reference, right? So I must be able to quote certain things. So focus on relevant research rather than attempt an exhaustive analysis of the field. As I said, here again, I will take my own example. Solar energy is a vast thing. It's an exhaustive analysis. My thing is a very small area in that solar energy, right? Dye-sensitized solar cell and thing. So I must need to concentrate on the particular thing. That is what is called as focus on relevant research rather than attempt an exhaustive analysis of the field. That is what the difference between a textbook and a journal paper, right? A textbook gives you an exhaustive analysis. A journal paper is very pinpoint. Concentrate on a particular thing, right? So focus on relevant recent research rather than attempt an exhaustive analysis of the field. And then, what are the key questions to ask about the introduction? Is it clear what is already known about this topic? Do I know anything about this topic? Have I read all the reference papers? That is what is it clear what is already known about this topic? Is a research question clearly outlined? And is my research objective justified? So these are the things I must be able to answer. If I could answer all these questions, my introduction is good. Now coming to the methods, right? Since you are zoology, most of the things it will be experimental methods. So I have to select an experiment. Or is the process of subject selection clear? Are the variables defined and measured appropriately? Are the study methods valid and reliable? Is there enough detail in order to replicate the study? Right? I have mentioned all these things, but let me tell you something more about this. Is there enough detail in order to replicate the study? Right? A good research, the definition for a good research with reference to replication is, if I can replicate, it's a good research. Right? I'm giving some data. Say, for example, I'm synthesizing something. I take 1 gram of this, I take 0.5 gram of this, or I mention it in terms of mode. Right? If I read all those things and if I could do it in another lab, that is what is replication. So good science or good research is, if I can replicate, it is good science. So vice versa. Or the other words, if I cannot replicate, it is not going to be good science. So is there enough detail in order to replicate the study is more important in all these 4 points. So first thing is, process of subject selection should be clear. The variables defined. What are things I am going to measure? I am going to measure the efficiency. I am measuring the efficiency appropriately. Or the study, or next is the study methods. The methods I am adapting, are they valid and reliable? Can I rely on it? Is it going to change from one lab to another? So it should be a reliable method. So this is about methods. And coming to results include many things, right? The final write-up. In results, we give figures, right? We give text. Everything we do, right? First thing is, are the results presented clearly and suitably? Right? Are the results presented clearly and suitably? So results have to be present clearly, and it also must be suitable, right? Have the investigators carried out enough repetition? What do you mean by enough repetitions, right? Right. So that it is against statistics, right? It is against statistics, right? Now I have to repeat it to confirm my methodology, right? If I can get consistent results, what I'm doing is correct. That is why you say, have the investigators carried out enough repetitions? Are the results of sufficient quality? right? Are the figures are of publishable quality and understandable as standalone display item? This is also an important one, right? If I have a diagram, say for example, I have a graph with me, or any other diagram with me, right? It must be a standalone picture. It must carry information, right? It must carry information. You must not, it must say something, right? We normally say pictures talks more, right? Pictures doesn't need any description, something like that. So that figures, one is it must be publishable quality, right? Quality must be good. But as a researcher, the peer group must understand the figure. If it is a standalone display item, they must understand. So are the figures of publishable quality and understandable as standalone display item. And everything must be presented accurately. So these are about the results. Discussions and conclusions. This comes the last part, right? Are the results discussed from multiple angles and placed into context without being over-interpreted, right? I have a question, research question, I have my objective, my interpretation, I must conform myself to that questions, right? To the conclusion, answers, the aims of the study, or the conclusion supported by references, results, right? This is very important, right? I have a conclusion. This must be supported by two things, right? One is my result must support the conclusion. My experiment must support the conclusion, and the previous work also support my conclusion, right? Say for example, I add something, I do something, some modification where my efficiency increases, right? Maybe it will not be an abrupt increase, a significant increase will be there. I must be able to say how much increase is there, right? It has improved means how much it has improved. So those things I must be able to say. So that is why are the conclusions supported by references, results. And there will be limitations, right? Is the limitation an opportunity for others, or it is fatal? That also you must study. It must be always be an opportunity for others to continue over there. Now coming to the last part, the references. Of course, after this, you can have that acknowledgement part is also there. The references must be relevant. You must have relevant reference. So you cannot, just because my HOD has published a paper, I cannot quote his paper, which is not at all relevant for my study. So I must take relevant papers. So next is recent papers. I must take recent papers, right? Not which is published some 5 decades back. So recent papers, it has to be referenced correctly, right? Say for example, if I am writing number 1 means that number 1 must be correctly referenced. That is what is referenced correctly, or appropriate key studies included. So these are the things which I must take into consideration. One thing is, most important thing is, I must include relevant references, recent references, and it has to be referenced correctly, or appropriate key studies included. Then one more thing I can have an acknowledgement. I can acknowledge. So these are the main components of any research paper or any research project. Maybe I can repeat it once again. What are the main things? First, I need a title, right? That is the clarity. It must be brief. Clarity and briefness are the hallmarks of any title. So we started with title. Then you have to mention about the authors and their affiliations. That ethics must be there while including your co-authors, and then an abstract must be there. Of course, keywords must be there. Keywords also must be there. And then comes the introduction, then the methods, then discussions and conclusion, then comes the references. Now, writing a journal, we must know what is plagiarism. Plagiarism simply it is copying, right? It is copying. Now, we must avoid copying. Copying in all ways, right? So UGC have formed a consortium for academic and research ethics. You call it as UGC CARE, and UGC CARE, they also do journal analysis, and they have a list of journals, and it says that for any PhD, you must have published 2 papers in UGC CARE journals. So UGC CAR journals consist of two categories. There is category 1 and category 2. First one, if you publish in globally recognized databases, something like Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed, automatically it is included. It is included. Another one, they have their own mechanism. They include it in UGC CAR, right? And next to it is there in Savitri Phule Pune University in Pune. The Savitri Phule Pune University. It is in Pune. So and Savitri Phule, hope you must be knowing. Savitri Phule is the first women teacher. If you have time, please log in and study about her. A great, inspiring lady she is, right? The first women teacher of the entire country, who served this country along with one of his Muslim friend, right? She was able to do more things, right? You must learn about her. Everyone must know about that first women teacher, because she and her husband were responsible for opening the first school for the downtrodden. You must know both about Phule and Savitri, right? So plagiarism is avoiding. That is, plagiarism is nothing but copying, right? Plagiarism is again a bigger topic. Plagiarism is again a bigger topic. Maybe if your HOD asks for another webinar, I can talk about what are the different types of plagiarism we have, what are the common types of plagiarism we have. Those things we will talk. But avoid plagiarism, avoid copying. And UGC is very strict about it. As of now, if you submit a PhD thesis, they allow 20%, right? They allow 20%. This 20% is for basic knowledge, right? Say, for example, Newton's law, nobody can convert it and write it, right? You have to write as it is. So for basic knowledge, they are allowing 20%. So 20% plagiarism is allowed, right? And UGC is coming with norms where they can even cut your increment. So that is the way UGC is dealing with plagiarism. So you must avoid plagiarism. Another thing is, before I move on to the next topic, that is intellectual property rights, I would like to tell you about these predatory journals also. A small introduction about these predatory journals, right? You must know where to publish, and you must also know where not to publish, right? There are journals which accept money and give a bigger promise that your papers will be published within 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. It is quite impossible to publish your paper within 10 days, right? Or it will take 1 month, because I tell you the process of publishing. What are the process involved in publishing, right? Every genuine journal will have a dedicated portal. So every genuine journal will have no submitting your manuscript through email. You have to log in. You have to log in. Your username, password will be there. Your username, password will be there, and excuse this. Your username, password will be there, and you need to enter one after the other. First they ask for the title, then they ask for the authors, then for the abstract, then for the manuscript, then for the figures. It goes on like this. So every genuine journal will have a dedicated portal where you can upload your manuscript, right? Then after uploading, what happens? It goes to the editor. And the editor looks for certain things. Maybe certain journals have restrictions in length of the papers. It must be only for 5 pages. It must be only for 5 figures. And there are certain restrictions. So he goes through all these things. We call this as desk review. And he goes through the way you have written, the English you have written, and the structure of the paper. Those things we call it as desk review. This desk review itself will take 4 to 5 days, maybe even 1 week. So after this, he may send the paper to you back, or he may send the paper to a reviewer. And nowadays, every journal sends it to a minimum of 2 reviewers. Right? So the editor sends the paper to a minimum of 2 reviewers. So a reviewer then reviews it. Then he sends back with certain comments. He may say, accept the paper. without any modification. Or he may ask for minor revision, or he may ask for major revision, or he may reject the paper. It all depends on the reviewer, right? So reviewer can say something, right? And if it is going for a review, if it is going for a revision, the author must be very happy because it helps you in fine-tuning the paper. You must take it in the positive sense, because after burning all your midnight lab, someone comes and says that you are not correct. It is quite painful, but still, you must take it in a positive way, and you must be able to fine-tune your paper, fine-tune your manuscript, right? So that is the way you have to take. So minimum 2 reviewers are there. It is a correspondence between reviewer, editor, author, editor, reviewer. So this correspondence will take another 1 month. So anyone comes with a promise of short notice, short publication, don't believe them. So it is necessary to know where not to publish also. Because when you publish in a predatory journal, things will not be okay. Your reputation will go down. Say for example, if I publish in a journal, in a predatory journal, my reputation will go down. My reputation as a researcher will go down. They will look down at me. Not only they will look down at me, they will look down at my institution, right? And if a PhD student submits a paper in a predatory journal, and when he shows that journal, when he goes for an interview, it is clear that he won't get that job. So you must be very careful before publishing. You must know where to publish, and all the more you must know where not to publish, right? Okay, maybe I can move to the next topic. Maybe we deviate a little bit. Intellectual property, this IT, because now the NAC, NIRF, everybody insists that the students must be aware of what an intellectual property is. Property means the first thing that comes to my mind is my house, movable, immovable properties, right? My house immovable, my vehicle movable. So this is not only the property, my intellect is also a property, right? So we have different types of intellectual property, starting from industrial property, which includes patent, inventions, then trademarks, geographical indications, copyrights, those things, right? We'll see, briefly, we'll see one after the other. First, let me tell you what is a patent, right? Everyone talks about a patent nowadays. NIRF and NAC, they have included how many patents your institution have, whether it is published, whether it is granted. Those questions are there when you have applied. What is the number? Give us document. Those things they ask, right? Now, what is a patent? A patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention, right? It is a right. I have invented something, and an exclusive right is given. What right it is? I have the right to decide how to use that invention. I have my own right. I may use or may not use. I may sell. So the right comes to me. What kind of invention can be protected? Patents may be granted for invention in any field of technology. How long does patent protection last? It is generally for 20 years. Right? It is generally for 20 years. Is patent valid in every country? It's not so. Patent is geographical, it is country-wise, and soon you will be getting global patents. Right? It is coming up. Soon you will be getting global patents. Then anyone who owns a patent can license a patent to other. Right? That is what is licensing a patent. Licensing a patent simply means that the patent owner grants permission to another individual organization. He can make, he can use, he can sell, whatever he can do. Right? But he can license a patent. Usefulness of a patent. Patent provides incentives to and protection for individuals by offering them recognition for the creativity and the possibility of material reward for their invention, right? And then capable of being used. So condition, what are the conditions to be a patent? It must be of industrial use or business purpose. Some novelty must be there. Element of novelty must be there. We should have invented something. So inventive step must be there. These are the conditions, right? Either it could be for business purpose or an industrial purpose. So those things you can have patents. Can I obtain a patent and keep my invention secret? No, because once you obtain a patent, it is published, right? It is only in exchange for a full disclosure of invention. In general, the details of the invention are published and made available to the public at large. Why should inventions be patent? Why? Right? It gives some rights. Say, for example, I am having the reason for Samsung to be a global industry just because this patent, they have more number of patents. Positive image for your enterprise, right? And increasing in negotiating power. All must be knowing about negotiating power, right? Right. I negotiate for everything. We negotiate for everything. Right. If I have a patent, my negotiation power goes up. Right. I get good positions. Right. I get good position. A good IPL season this year will increase your negotiating power in the next year. Something like that. Right. A return on investment, opportunity to sell or sell the invention, to license or sell the invention. So these are the exclusive. Now copyright. So the patent is all about technology and business things. Now copyright, it is novels, poems, plays, reference work, newspaper articles. Those things can have a copyright, right? Computer programs, databases, films, musical compositions, choreography. So the famous case between Ilayaraja and S.P. Balasubramanian. You must be knowing about copyright about knots and and it was court verdict is in favor of Ilayaraja. So these are the things which include copyright. Then what are my copyrights? I have the economic right, I have the moral rights, right? Right. I have the moral ownership of that particular thing, particular composition. I do have economic rights also. Now next is trademark. Copyright normally you see and then around you can see trademark. Say for example, Toyota comes with a trademark. Tata company comes with a trademark. So these are all the trademark. A trademark is a sign, another intellectual property, right? Patent, copyright, now it is trademark. These are all subdivisions of intellectual property. What is a trademark? A trademark is a sign capable of distinguishing the goods or services of one enterprises from those of other enterprises. This is how they. So looking at the sign, you will say which is Tata and which is Toyota, right? So that is what is a trademark. Trade secret, right? What is this trade secret or something interesting, right? They have the trademark, but they will not give the secret, right? I will tell you an example of this. Advantages in this example of this Coca-Cola, they have not revealed how Coca-Cola is being made. It's a trade secret, right? So nobody will be knowing it. That is an advantage. But today we live in the world of reverse engineering. We go from the back, right? Now mathematics students, if any mathematics or anyone who do calculations will be knowing. We know the result, we write the result and try to go back, right? You call it as reverse engineering. So disadvantage is also there. By reverse engineering, they might find a way to produce your product, right? So advantage is also there, disadvantage is also there for a trademark. So trade secret is also an intellectual property. And then geographical indications. What is the geographical indication? Geographical indication is sign used on the products that have a specific geographical origin and possesses qualities or a reputation that are due to that origin. They are typically used for agriculture products, foodstuffs, wine, drinks, and industrial products. Something like Tirupati Laddu, Kanjipuram Sari, right? Banaras Pattu. So these are all related to geographical indication, a place. If they say Laddu means you will know the place, right? That is how we identify. This is called as geographical indication, right? Nilgiris tea. So tea is associated with the position Nilgiris tea. So these are the things called as geographical indications. Difference between a geographical indication and a trademark. Geographical indication identifies a place, and a trademark identifies a particular company. Right? That is what is the difference between geographical indications and trademark. Now, Indian scenario with reference to this patents or intellectual property. The head office is at New Delhi, Dwarka, right? You call it as Office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks, right? And here we have offices in Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. What is the term of patent in the Indian system? Already I said it is 20 years everywhere. Similarly, in India also it is 20 years. Which act governs the patent system? It is Patent Act in 1970. It is amended in 2003. Does Indian patent give protection worldwide? This also we have answered. It is geographical. No, patent protection is territorial right. So therefore it is confined to India only. But global patents are coming up. Where one can find information related to published granted patent application, a journal is there from ipindia.gov.in. You can find it over there. The information relating to the patent application is published. It is searchable. It is searchable. If you give the application number, the entire history about the patent will be coming up. Does patent office help in finding users for patent? No, it won't do it. Right? Patent office role is if you have an invention, they will grant patent. Right? Nothing more than that. This Indian database, patent database searchable? Yes, you can search IPA India Services.gov in public search. You can go and search for the patents. Right? So it gives you inventions that are already patented. So hopefully I'm coming at the end. So we have seen about journals, then a little bit about plagiarism, then about predatory journals, and then this intellectual property. Hopefully I'll conclude. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, clarifications, you can ask. Please unmute your mic and ask questions or clarifications. You can post a message in chat box also. You can post your questions. So if there are no questions, Heather sir, let me invite our Heather sir to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone present here. Honorable Resource Person Dr. J. Madhavan sir, respected Principal, energetic Vice Principals, Academic and Administration, Dynamic Head of the Department, my dear colleagues, and all the participants. In sense, I like national and international. Today, I can see our old students who studied in our PG, UG in our department. I'm very happy to see all the students like Bilal and other students. They have attended the program from Saudi Arabia and other international countries. It is such an honor to me to get the opportunity to thank all the dignitaries. On behalf of the PG and the Research Department of Zoology, the new college, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to all the esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Resource Person, Dr. J. Madhavan sir, Dean of Research, Loyola College, to take out time from this busy schedule to grace the event. Sir also is a student-friendly, genius, generous, very good researcher. Already our Navi sir highlighted about more than 30 PhD he produced in a short span of time. And also he is heading a research park that is very, very important in the Loyola College. And the main aim of the research park is to encourage students to do research and highlight the importance of the research. Thank you, sir. Inspiring and encourage us with your words are like you explained about the single-blinded, double-blinded, and open-blinded review. It is very, very useful for our researchers. And sir explained about the plagiarism, IPR, usefulness of the patent, copyright, trademark, and trade secrets. These are also very, very useful for our PG as well as research students in our college. And once again, a special thanks to our management principal, vice principal, for providing immense support to make this webinar successful. I extend my gratitude to our head of the department to organize a series of webinars in order to benefit the young minds of their career prospects. I must thank the organizing secretaries, Dr. Mohammad Shakib Naveed and Dr. Madraji Mizar, for working hard for the past few days to make this webinar successful. I thank all the participants who have actually participated and clarified your doubts and make this webinar a grand success. Thank you, Anambal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We have shared the feedback link in the chat box. Please use this for getting your certificates. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I'll take this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You can leave. Dear participants, please use the link for giving feedback.